tragic death of actor Phillip Seymour Hoffman, a performer who was known for his extraordinary range. He was also known for his honesty about the struggles he faced away from the public eye.
Phillip Seymour Hoffman was a highly acclaimed actor, known for his incredible talent, with over 50 film credits and an Academy Award for Best Actor. But behind the success, Hoffman battled personal demons that many of his fans never knew about. Throughout his life, he struggled with addiction, turning to drugs and alcohol at a young age and entering rehab for the first time at just 22. He would eventually relapse, and it cost him everything he loved. After his sudden death on February 2, 2014, fans were left in shock, desperate for answers. In the aftermath, investigations, rumors, and a touching tribute from his partner, Mimi O'Donnell, helped piece together the story of his struggles. Now, 10 years later, more details of Phillip Seymour Hoffman's dark and difficult journey are finally coming to light. Phillip Seymour Hoffman's final hours were bizarre. After Phillip Seymour Hoffman's tragic death, the media worked tirelessly to reconstruct the actor's final 24 hours, revealing a puzzling series of events. According to CNN's detailed report, Hoffman's day began like any other. He stopped by Chocolate Bar on 8th Avenue, ordering his usual 4-shot espresso over ice with a splash of milk. The shop's manager, Jonathan Hansen, described Hoffman as perfectly fine and in good spirits during their brief interaction. However, things seemed to change as the day progressed. Around 2 p.m., Hoffman crossed paths with Mimi O'Donnell, the mother of his children, on the street. Though the pair had separated, O'Donnell noted that Hoffman appeared to be under the influence. A few hours later, at approximately 5 p.m., executive producer Paul Pabst and his family encountered Hoffman on Greenwich Street. Pabst's sister, a fan, approached him but found him to be out of it, further hinting at his troubled state. As evening fell, Hoffman was seen dining at Automatic Slim's with 2 companions, enjoying a cheeseburger and drinking a cranberry soda. But by 8 p.m., the tone darkened. An eyewitness reported seeing Hoffman enter a supermarket with 2 men carrying messenger bags. Surveillance footage captured Hoffman withdrawing $1,200 from an ATM in 6 transactions, a mysterious and eerie final act before his life was cut short. Before he died, Phillip Seymour Hoffman was in a very dark place. Despite his remarkable career, including over 50 film credits and an Academy Award for Best Actor in Capote, 2006, Phillip Seymour Hoffman remained grounded and approachable. To the residents of downtown Manhattan, where he had lived for years, Hoffman wasn't the Hollywood star people saw on screen, but a regular figure in the neighborhood. He was the rumpled cyclist weaving through the streets of the West Village, the devoted father walking his 3 children to school, or the actor quietly reading through scripts or enjoying a drink at his favorite local spots. As described in a 2014 People cover story, Hoffman blended into his community with an air of humility, appearing more like a laid-back local than an international star. However, beneath this facade of normalcy, Hoffman wrestled with inner demons. He was a master at hiding his struggles, but those who observed him closely could see the cracks. One local recalled how Hoffman would frequent Oliver's restaurant with his son, Cooper. The two would spend hours chatting, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. But as night fell, a different Hoffman would appear, alone at the bar, hunched over, a shadow of the lively man seen earlier. He looked very dark and depressed, the observer shared, hinting at the duality of Hoffman's life. Photographer Victoria Will, who worked with Hoffman shortly before his passing at the Sundance Film Festival, echoed this sentiment. She remembered him as approachable and down-to-earth, noting how easily he concealed any internal turmoil. "He seemed great," she recalled. "He was just a regular guy, which is what I've always loved about him." There were drugs. Lots of drugs. Phillip Seymour Hoffman's battle with addiction was a lifelong struggle, one that persisted even as his career flourished. Hoffman began drinking heavily and using drugs at a young age, leading him to rehab by the time he was just 22. Reflecting on this period in a 2011 interview with The Guardian, Hoffman admitted, "I had no interest in drinking in moderation, and I still don't. Just because all that time's passed doesn't mean maybe it was just a phase. That's who I am." He managed to stay sober for 23 years, relying on therapy and attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings to maintain his sobriety. However, as his longtime partner Mimi O'Donnell recalled in a poignant 2017 Vogue essay, addiction is always a lurking presence, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. Hoffman first relapsed with alcohol, which then spiraled into an abuse of prescription opioids and eventually heroin. O'Donnell admitted that despite years of experience with addiction, she didn't fully understand that addiction is always lurking just below the surface, looking for a moment of weakness to come roaring back to life. For much of this relapse, Hoffman was able to keep his struggles hidden from the public eye. His relapse didn't make headlines until after his tragic death on February 2, 2014. Hoffman was found in his apartment, lying on the bathroom floor in a t-shirt and shorts, with his glasses still perched on his head and a needle in his arm. The details of his passing revealed the depths of his addiction. Authorities discovered 49 unopened glassine bags of heroin, 8 empty bags, 20 used needles, and several prescription pills for anxiety and high blood pressure. The real cause of Phillip Seymour Hoffman's death was disputed. Following the investigation into Phillip Seymour Hoffman's tragic overdose, discrepancies emerged regarding the specifics of the evidence found at his apartment. The New York Post reported finding 5 empty glassines in a trash bin and 3 more scattered around the home, with an additional 70 unused glassines located in a desk drawer. This account notably differs from the Daily Mail's report, which stated there were 49 full glassines and 7 empty ones found in Hoffman's apartment. In addition to these inconsistencies, there was debate over the cause of Hoffman's overdose. Amid a surge in deaths attributed to fentanyl-laced heroin, including a notable spike of 22 overdoses in Pittsburgh in 2014, some sources suggested fentanyl could have been a contributing factor to Hoffman's death. Fentanyl, a powerful prescription painkiller, is significantly stronger than heroin, between 50 to 80 times more potent. Its potency poses a serious risk when users are unaware that their heroin is laced with it, as it can lead to fatal overdoses. Conversely, The Atlantic questioned whether fentanyl played a role in Hoffman's case. The publication pointed out that the markings on the glassines, which identified the type of heroin inside, did not correspond with those linked to fentanyl-related overdoses in other incidents. They suggested that while Hoffman's death occurring during a wave of fentanyl-laced heroin overdoses was notable, it was more plausible that his death resulted from a recent relapse and an overdose of heroin alone. These conflicting reports reflect the complexity of Hoffman's overdose and the challenges in pinpointing the exact cause amidst a broader epidemic of substance abuse and adulterated drugs. Phillip Seymour Hoffman's alleged dealer was like the Grim Reaper. On February 4th, 2014, just 2 days after Phillip Seymour Hoffman's tragic overdose, the New York Post reported that 4 individuals were arrested in connection with his death. These arrests followed a raid on a notorious New York City drug den, where Hoffman was believed to have purchased heroin. Among those detained was Robert Weinberg, a musician who was suspected of being Hoffman's primary drug dealer. Weinberg, dubbed like the Grim Reaper by TMZ due to his associations with multiple high-profile individuals who succumbed to overdoses, had a troubling history. Weinberg was known to have been close to the late artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, who frequently visited Weinberg's apartment for heroin use before his overdose in 1988. Although Weinberg was rumored to have known Amy Winehouse as well, there are no records confirming they used drugs together. From his prison cell, Weinberg spoke with the New York Post, maintaining his innocence and expressing regret over Hoffman's death. He stated, "He was my friend," and claimed, "I could have saved him." Weinberg suggested that had he known Hoffman was in town, he would have encouraged him to attend an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. He asserted, "If I was with him, it wouldn't have happened. Not under my guard." Despite his claims, Weinberg admitted to seeing Hoffman high and estimated that the actor might have been consuming up to 10 bags of heroin a day. When asked directly if he had ever sold drugs to Hoffman, Weinberg declined to provide a response. One tabloid claimed Phillip Seymour Hoffman was in a gay relationship. Screenwriter David Barkatz and Phillip Seymour Hoffman's assistant, Isabella Wing Davey, were the individuals who discovered Hoffman's lifeless body. Their involvement in the discovery, however, sparked a swirl of tabloid speculation and rumors. According to the New York Post, the events leading to this discovery were straightforward. Hoffman had missed his scheduled pickup of his children from Mimi O'Donnell. Concerned, O'Donnell asked Katz to check on Hoffman at his apartment. Katz arrived at the residence and was granted entry by Wing Davey, only to find Hoffman deceased. Despite the factual account, the National Enquirer published sensational and unfounded allegations about Katz and Hoffman. The tabloid claimed to have an exclusive interview with Katz in which he supposedly admitted to a romantic and sexual relationship with Hoffman. According to the National Enquirer, Katz allegedly confessed to being Hoffman's gay lover and claimed to have witnessed Hoffman using heroin and cocaine shortly before his death. Katz strongly refuted these allegations. He sued the National Enquirer for $50 million, labeling the article as a complete fabrication. Katz's lawyer also issued a statement clarifying that Katz had never had a romantic relationship with Hoffman and had not seen him using drugs. Did Phillip Seymour Hoffman really disinherit his kids? Phillip Seymour Hoffman was renowned for keeping his private life out of the public eye. He shared a long-term relationship with Mimi O'Donnell, and together they had 3 children, Cooper, Tallulah, and Willa. At the time of Hoffman's sudden death in 2014, the children were just 10, 7, and 5 years old. Despite their young ages and the high-profile nature of their father, the children did not inherit any of Hoffman's substantial fortune. Instead, Hoffman's estate was left entirely to O'Donnell. According to E! News, which obtained the probate documents from Manhattan's surrogate court, the reasoning behind Hoffman's decision was clearly outlined. In these documents, Hoffman explained to his accountant that he did not want his children to become trust fund kids. He believed that leaving them out of his will would encourage them to forge their own paths rather than relying on inherited wealth. The documents also highlighted that, despite never marrying, Hoffman considered O'Donnell his life partner. His decision to not marry was based on personal beliefs rather than any lack of affection, and it did not diminish his relationship with her. As noted in the probate papers, Hoffman's choice to leave his estate to O'Donnell reflected his deep commitment to her, despite their unconventional status as a couple. How much Phillip Seymour Hoffman was worth when he died? When Phillip Seymour Hoffman passed away, his net worth was an impressive $25 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. While he is best remembered for his compelling roles in dramatic films, Hoffman also made significant contributions to blockbuster hits. He appeared in Mission Impossible 3 alongside Tom Cruise in 2006, a film that grossed $398 million worldwide, as reported by Box Office Mojo. Additionally, he played a notable role in the first 2 installments of The Hunger Games, which collectively earned over $650 million. In terms of real estate, Hoffman made notable investments. In 2008, he purchased a luxurious condo at 68 Jane Street in Manhattan for $4.28 million, as detailed by The Real Deal. This impressive lofty residence featured 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and a living room described as one of the largest single spaces in the West Village. This was where he lived with his former partner Mimi O'Donnell and their children. Earlier, in 2002, Hoffman acquired a penthouse at 1 Sheridan Square in Manhattan, which he later sold for $2.57 million, according to The Real Deal. This property boasted 2 bedrooms, a working fireplace, and a substantial roof terrace. However, the apartment where Hoffman died was not one of these properties. It was a different unit that was listed for rent at $10,250 a month in 2016. Upon his death, Hoffman left his $25 million fortune to Mimi O'Donnell, with the trust that she would manage and distribute the funds for their children. Philip Seymour Hoffman's TV show tried to debut without him and failed. Philip Seymour Hoffman, widely celebrated for his film work, surprised fans by taking on a new challenge, executive producing and starring in a Showtime TV series called Happyish. The show was set to premiere in 2014 with a 10-episode run, featuring Hoffman as a 40-something man working for a Facebook-like company who feels increasingly out of touch amid younger colleagues. A half-hour pilot had already been filmed in September 2013, just before Hoffman's untimely death. However, production on the full series had yet to commence. In the wake of Hoffman's passing, Showtime faced a dilemma on how to move forward with the series. The network ultimately decided to recast the lead role, choosing Steve Coogan to replace Hoffman. This decision led to significant changes, with most of the original cast not returning for the revamped first season. Happyish premiered in 2015 but struggled to capture an audience, attracting only 430,000 viewers. The critical reception was equally harsh, with The Hollywood Reporter describing the series as more annoying than funny. Consequently, Happyish was pulled from the air after its first season, failing to secure a second due to its disappointing viewership. Addiction was very much the focus of Philip Seymour Hoffman's life. In a 2017 tribute to her late partner, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Mimi O'Donnell shared a poignant account of their relationship in Vogue. She recounted their initial meeting in 1999 when she interviewed for the costume designer position on In Arabia, We'd All Be Kings, Hoffman's first play as a director. Their connection was immediate, and they began dating in 2001. O'Donnell described Hoffman as being very open about his struggles with addiction from the start. Being sober and a recovering addict was, along with acting and directing, very much the focus of his life, she noted. Their relationship appeared stable until a troubling moment when Hoffman expressed a desire to drink again. "I've been thinking I want to try to have a drink again." "What do you think?" he asked O'Donnell. This seemingly innocent request marked the beginning of a painful downward spiral. Hoffman's return to drinking soon escalated to prescription opioid abuse and ultimately a secret return to heroin use. O'Donnell vividly described the escalating fear and anguish she felt, sensing Hoffman's secretive drug use. "I told him, 'You're going to die. That's what happens with heroin,'" she recounted. Every day was filled with worry, and each night brought anxiety about whether she would see him again. Witnessing her partner's battle with addiction was heartbreaking, and O'Donnell reached a point where she realized the addiction was beyond her control. "For the first time, I realized that his addiction was bigger than either of us. I bowed my head and thought, I can't fix this. It was the moment that I let go." Philip Seymour Hoffman was the reason Beautiful Boy was made. Released in 2018, Beautiful Boy features Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet in a powerful portrayal of a father and his teenage son's struggle with methamphetamine addiction. The film earned Chalamet a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor and was generally well received by critics. However, its journey to the screen was fraught with challenges, particularly involving writer Luke Davies, who nearly stepped away from the project. Davies, who had previously battled addiction himself and written the acclaimed novel and screenplay Candy, initially vowed to avoid drug-related subjects in his future work. As he prepared to turn down the opportunity to work on Beautiful Boy, a significant event shifted his perspective. Just days before his meeting with the producers, Philip Seymour Hoffman, a beloved actor and advocate for addiction awareness, passed away. In a poignant turn of events, Davies received an unexpected email from his father following Hoffman's death. "My dad wrote me an email saying, 'I suppose you heard about Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's really sad. Luke, sometimes I feel this family is so blessed,'" Davies recalled. His father's message resonated deeply, reflecting on Davies' own journey with addiction and his eventual recovery. "My dad was not one to express his emotions openly, especially about the past. At that moment, it felt like an invitation from the universe to reconsider my decision," Davies reflected. "I thought, maybe this is a sign. I really want this job." This heartfelt revelation led Davies to embrace the project, ultimately contributing to the film's impactful storytelling. The legacy of Philip Seymour Hoffman. The true source of the heroin that led to Hoffman's overdose remains shrouded in mystery, and the void left by his passing is immeasurable. At just 46 years old, Hoffman was a towering figure in both film and theater. Alongside his acclaimed film career, Hoffman was a pivotal force in the theater world, having co-founded the Labyrinth Theater Company in 1992. His work with the company, which included both performing in and directing numerous plays, cemented his legacy as a significant artistic presence. Following his death, the Labyrinth Theater Company issued a heartfelt tribute, stating, "His contributions to the Labyrinth family as an artist and mentor are immeasurable. We join everyone in mourning the passing of one of the great lights of our generation." Hoffman's partner, Mimi O'Donnell, remembered him as a sweet and gentle and loving man, reflecting on his boundless generosity with his time, energy, and resources. Despite the tragedy of his early death, Hoffman's impact on the arts and the lives of those close to him endures as a testament to his extraordinary talent and kindness. As we reflect on the life and legacy of Philip Seymour Hoffman, it's clear that his remarkable career was both celebrated and shadowed by his personal struggles. With 10 years having passed since his untimely death, the revelations about his final days and the mysteries surrounding them continue to intrigue and sadden. What do you think about the revelations surrounding Hoffman's life and career? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more in-depth stories and updates about Hollywood's biggest stars and their untold secrets, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay tuned.